Play. Oh, that was like instant. It's different than the Windows. Painkiller Nearly, episode 140. Here we go. Um,
Yeah.
Here we go.
so,
So you said that you weren't caught up on this guy from Cleveland, Ohio, that went on that shot the guy. So what happened was this: he goes on Facebook Live, and he's holding his phone, with the front facing camera on. So you see like his steering wheel and the hood of his car, and he's like, "I'm about to murder this guy. I just found me somebody to murder." And he gets out of his car. He's parked on the side of a paved road. He gets out of his car, walks across that road to the other sidewalk, and there's a 74-year-old black man walking down the road with like a grocery bag, like a plastic bag. And he's like, say, and then he says a woman's name that's indiscernible. I don't know what it is, like Rebecca. Say Rebecca. And he's like, what? He's like, why? He's like, because that's whose fault it is that this is happening to you right now. And he pulls a Glock and points at his head. And the guy puts his hands in the air, and he says, I don't know nobody named that. And he shoots him in the head point blank, and the guy falls to the ground dead, blood all over the sidewalk. And he goes, yeah, that motherfucker's dead. And then he walks back to the car, and that's it.
I didn't watch it yet because I saw Chiz link it a few days ago, and the Blues had literally just won Game 3, and it was 3-0. And Chiz sends me 45 seconds later a link, and he says some guy just murdered some poor elderly guy for no reason. Here's a full video of it, and I was like, "Oh, you are no, not tonight."
having
Not
said
today.
that, that's what the Blues are doing to Minnesota. So,
Murdering them in the street. But yeah, I like for some reason, like I never dwell on those internet videos too much, but there was something about that. Like I think it was the fact that I saw the victim's face before the video had been linked, or
Yeah.
like when I looked into it as it was linked and I saw his face, and it was almost like, that's so much more humanizing now. And you saw the pictures of his family, like so sad. It happened on fucking Easter. Like that's horrible. I'm so glad that piece of shit killed himself.
Yeah, so here's the next part of the story. So that guy, like, I think he posted some more stuff on Facebook, and he's doing this because, I don't know, a girl broke up with him or something of that nature. It seemed to be all because of a girl. But on Facebook, he said that he killed like another 12 or 15 people and gave locations for where he killed them. And they said they were looking into that, but they didn't know if that was a real thing or not. And then today, I guess he was at a McDonald's and ordering some chicken nuggets and some fries. And the cashier recognizes him and tells and goes and calls the state police, and then tells the owner of the McDonald's, and he goes to the window and tells this guy that he has to wait for his fries, and the guy refuses to wait for the fries. He just takes his nuggets and drives away, but the cops are already there at that point. So the cops started chasing him down the highway, and he shot himself in the head. So
I didn't know the McNuggets storyline there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't even get to eat his McNugget. Do you think he was frantically wolfing them down?
They said a short police chase. I guarantee. If you look in that car, you'll find a Glock, one uneaten nugget, and some empty sweet and sour sauce packets. That's it.
The blood and sweet and sour all over the window.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that guy. He definitely didn't leave a lot of nuggets uneaten.
He ate those nuggets. He ate those nuggets, and he drank that Coke. Right? He was driving like, God damn, why'd I get diet? He's drinking the soda down.
This was all or nothing.
Should have got a Sprite.
Did you you watched the full video, right? You didn't just read a recap.
Yeah,
what was your impression of the way he was talking? Like, were you just like, okay, I can tell immediately he's a sociopath? Because I saw people talking about the way
super calm and collected. Yeah. He seemed very unaffected before and after he did it. He seemed very cold, but he was just like, I'm gonna murder that guy right there, or something to that effect. I'm gonna murder that guy, or I just found me a guy to murder, or I'm gonna murder this dude. And then he goes as he's like getting out of the car, like laboring to like get his fat ass up. You hear him kind of like he's just calm and collected, and his voice isn't quavering, it's not shaking, and he just murders this guy, and then he's just like, yeah, that guy's dead, and he's like, this is your fault, or something like that, and just strolls back to his car. Yeah, it really affected me too.
Is there any like I know that people said, or he said maybe that he like, oh, I killed 13 or 12 people or something like that. Is there any evidence of that yet, or is it just like
all they've said is that they're looking into that or investigating his claims to that, because I think he was like, yeah, I shot a guy on like, Smith Street, and then I shot an old lady on Bridge Street, and I think he said some shit like that, and so looking into it, but I don't know. All I know for sure is he shot that poor old guy. Yeah, the guy had Easter dinner in his bag. That's what it was. It was leftovers from Easter dinner. How fucked. How fucked.
That is so fucked.
Hockey
It makes you think of like, because that old guy, he was making like the healthy decision that day. Like walking home, he wasn't driving. He probably just had a good time with his family. Like he was enjoying, probably still had the fun thoughts of that. His family's still thinking like, oh, I'm glad Grandpa came by today. That was fun.
Yeah.
And then just for no reason at all, this cunt murders him. Like it's the worst kind. Like random violence is so much more infuriating.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to make it make sense. Like there's no reason for it. Like that dude could have woke up today. That dude could have had 15 more Easters or whatever.
How do you safeguard yourself from that? Like you can be like, oh yeah, I've got my gas mask and I've got my bunker downstairs, and I got my shotgun if they try to come through the front door. But what do you do when some maniac just wants to murder another human being and is just out there with a handgun? There's nothing to do for that. That's why I think that's part of why it's so awful to watch.
That's why terrorism is so effective. Like now you can, feel better about the statistics. You're more likely to get hit by lightning. I read that on the internet, so it's good. But
especially if you're flying in Florida, eh?
But if you're walking a crosswalk, or if you're at a gathering of people, and the new thing is just to mow them down with a van, like it's just random death dealing, and that's why people hate terrorism so much, because they didn't make a mistake. They didn't go down the wrong alley. They just went to work.
They were just living their lives.
Yeah.
The thing that I've been watching The West Wing, and one of the things that dates it so much, that makes it seem so dated, is the lack of security and how lax security is. There's a part where, like, I don't know, some lobbyist woman is dating a senator, and she's unhappy that he is going to vote a certain way. And so she drives her car up onto a sidewalk aggressively and like jumps out and like storms over to him and like cusses him out while Secret Service is around, and literally drives up onto the sidewalk like perpendicularly, like she's not parallel to the sidewalk, like she drives over the sidewalk, and the senator's like, I think you messed up your suspension. That happens today, and they have all emptied their weapons into that windshield and reloaded at least once. At least once. It already has happened. They gunned that woman down in D.C. when she drove over that barrier or whatever. Like, so whenever I see the security situation, it's like, yeah, that's...
So you lean conservative, but when you watched something about West Wing, they put the Democrat ideals, I should say, eloquently. It's convincing, sort of. Does that happen to you at all? I mean, obviously, look, you and I are on the same page on guns. So when I hear them talk about the lunacy and the craziness of weapons, I think they're just assholes. But there are other things, like environmental things and such, that they cover on the show, privacy, that make me feel like, they're just right on this. Does that happen to you?
There's one scene where... it's I don't know what the guy's title is, but he's going a little bald and his hair's curly, and he's kind of a weasel face guy.
Rosenthal,
and he's talking to his blonde assistant about tax breaks, because there was a surplus that year, like I don't know, $50 billion surplus or something outrageous, and she's like, why don't you give that money back? That's our money. And he's like, no. We know how to spend it better than you do though. What he goes, what would you spend it on? She's like, a DVD player. He's like, ha! See? There you go. He's like, we're going to spend it on this and that. And I was like, God, I wish you died when they shot you. And she even comes back with, what about the people who make the DVD players? And he's just like, ha! No. Social programs. We'll spend it better than you ever could. And he's like, it'll end up just going to the guys who the big wigs who own the DVD factories. Like, they'll get all the money. See? And it's just, there's a real, like, commie kind of New York Jewy vibe sometimes to the show.
See, I'm with
That can
you
be a
on that
bit
issue. It was same team. What's funny is we supported different candidates, but we mostly line up on the same ideals. And I just wish they had a different. God damn it, they ruined it. They ruined my point. I don't know how else to say it.
I've never watched West Wing before.
Oh no,
They do okay. Sometimes the way that they side on an issue, I'm like, yeah, I'm with this guy. I like this liberal president, and that he's there to do the really righteous thing that maybe no one else would do. Martin Sheen, and several more people you'd recognize, and lots of like.
Who played Youngblood?
I don't know what Youngblood is.
Taylor Will. It's a hockey movie.
Oh.
Youngblood. I haven't seen that.
Oh, he's real good looking. He's also in Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
He says literally.
Oh, Rob Lowe.
Yeah. Rob Lowe's in it for a while.
Yeah, you got Rob Lowe in there. But there's a lot of people.
Oh, he looks way different on this. Wow. Oh, I guess it was 86. Jeez.
I thought maybe you'd see it because it was hockey.
Oh, and the reparations came up one episode. They're putting this like there's this black guy that they're putting up into like a position of power. I don't recall what it was, and then they discovered that he had written some blurb on the dust cover of a book that's about reparations. And he starts, this black guy and one of the White House staff are having this conversation, and he literally says, he's like, my people are owed $1.7 trillion, and they find, and in the end of it, he's like, yeah, I guess we kind of are. How do you want it? And he's like, well, we can't pay cash. And he's like, well, maybe through affirmative, and he comes back with like, well, maybe through affirmative action and scholarships, we could give your people their $1.7 trillion back. And it's just very upsetting when they go that far to the left that they can't.
Where they just make things up.
It's a little racist to put this argument forward, but hey, that's what I'm here for. People have made solid economic arguments about how much better off the black people are here than they would have been in Africa. Now, who knows how that lays out, but if you just take like an average income in America, or even an average income of a black guy in America, and compare it to someone in like Nigeria, they probably stack up really well.
Yeah, how'd you like to be my first diamonds, you asshole?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, you take an average American up against an average Nigerian. An average American has so much more.
Yeah, or whatever they came from. Close. I think it was mostly the west coast of Africa, so that's that's not exactly good stuff. Yeah,
well, I don't know enough about that issue to take a side on it per se.
That does not stop us here on PKA.
You ought to call the West Wing the left wing, because
it kind of is the West Wing.
Yeah, good point. Maybe that's why they did that. But I do like the show, and I am going to keep watching. I don't know. I'm like 2 seasons and 11 episodes in. I found it interesting when the Syrians in the show shoot down an American plane with like 58 Americans on board and kill them all. One of them's the president's buddy. And they're coming up with a proportional response, and the generals are like, "Yeah, we'll blow up this air base or whatever the fuck, these radar towers. We're gonna blow up these radar towers." And he's like, "I don't want a proportional response. I want an unproportional response. I want the world to know that when we're gonna overreact." And
how do you want the response? Disproportionately.
But it was straw man. But the whole thing was bullshit to make their left wing point. They had Martin Sheen puff his chest out and become like a chicken hawk, wanting to kill some people. And then the general comes back with, "I found your target, sir. We'll blow up their main airport." Of course, the civilian casualty.
Oh no.
All flights in and out to the country will be crippled in the region, and the world will look at us as warmongers. And it's like, whoa. Isn't there a middle ground between attacking their main civilian airport and shooting some radar towers that they've already
think the writers of that show were talking amongst themselves? Like, hey, do you think this is a reasonable point from both sides? Can a conservative in here raise their hand? Oh, that's no one. Okay, all right. Like, no, of course not. Like, they just wrote it, and that was it. But I see what you mean. Like, I'm just looking at the cover here. And regardless of any political bias, this looks boring as shit. Like, this does not, like, I'm going to wait for House of Cards, and that's going to be my political show.
It is not as fun as House of Cards. I will definitely say that.
I watched West Wing recently.
It's a good show.
Yeah, I'm pretty current on that. I watched a bunch of it recently. I like it when they get into election season. Specifically, so his second term runs out and a different guy, goes for election. And I don't know how true it is, but you see like the relationship.
Wait, West Wing right now, or
West Wing?
or,
Yeah. So
okay.
you see the relationship between the president, who is Martin Sheen, and the candidates that are running, and like where he stands. And of course, he's always noble and perfect. And the candidates trying to like balance their. Okay, well, one guy's in the reserves, right? And he's been showing up to the reserves as is convenient for him for like 6 years. And he's trying to decide whether or not he should show up while he's campaigning, dressed in full uniform with a photo op. And, he's like, this might help me, this might hurt me, because it's kind of a ploy. And, it's not like he didn't do it. He did do it. It's just that he would miss it at times. It was inconvenient for him because he was like a senator and he could. So, it was fun to watch the kind of decisions that go into how small time he was at the very beginning of his campaign. Like, it's how I imagine a guy like Barry. The fuck is
Bernie?
Bernie? Thank you. I'm gonna call him Barry Sanders from. He's played football for the Lions, and I imagine when Bernie Sanders started, he had no real crowds. He was speaking to 10 people at a time.
I've seen it. Yeah, like when he announced his campaign. He's like, it looks like he's in a backyard wedding. And he's not a popular guy. He's standing there like 3 folding chairs and a mic, and there were literally 7 people there to watch, something like that.
How many?
And it didn't seem like there wasn't a lot of flash photography, or there wasn't that big cornucopia of microphones in front of him sticking out in every direction from every net. None of that. He was just in a backyard somewhere announcing to a handful of people that he was going to run for president.
I'm just thinking.
Speaking of TV shows that you guys watched, I'm watching Walking Dead now, so I can participate and be in with it. I'm season 2, episode 13. I started watching. How many seasons are there? 8, 7,
7.
6? 7. Okay, so I started watching it 7 years ago and got through the first season and part of the second when they were at that farm, until I was just like, I don't care anymore about what they're doing on this farm. And so I stopped, I guess, 6 years ago. And I just got through the farm part again. I remember why I stopped watching the show. Holy shit. It took forever and nothing happened. And the only guy, my favorite character, Crossbow Man, I forget his name, and
Daryl.
And Daryl and Shane were my 2 guys that I liked, because everybody else was just going emotionally. Like Rick is Mr. fucking indecisive, masquerading around as brave decision maker guy, and he's like, well, we need to keep pretending that Carl and all of us are looking in the woods for this little girl that we know is dead. I did the accent like that because that's about his level of consistency. He is all over the goddamn place with that southern accent. And I don't know how many vowels he thinks is in quarrel, but it's 1.
So the thing is, season 2 is the worst season. Like, whenever they rank the seasons best to worst, etc., the one consistent thing, worst, season 2. Kyle and I didn't like the latest season. Kyle liked it more, maybe because he binge watched it and it moved along quickly for him. But everyone unanimously agrees season 2 sucks, and they never do another one that slow again.
Well, then good, because I'm almost out of the woods here. But I felt like I was by myself watching this show, like as far as positions for what characters people like, because Shane would go around and then like execute 6 zombies that were clearly a problem. And people would like be talking and whispering in the fucking dining room of this little cottage, being like, Shane's starting to scare everyone, Rick. He's freaking everybody out, Rick.
Oh.
And nobody had the fucking balls to go, this needs to be done.
Dude.
We need Shane. We need someone who goes, that little girl is dead. And if we keep traipsing around in the woods like Little Red Riding Hood, more little girls are going to die. Is that what you want? Hey, I want to learn how to shoot, Dad. No, this isn't a debate, you little fuck. Up in the attic with you.
You get to season 3 or 4, they start like poking zombies in the eyeball through a chain link fence with as much care as you would have maybe pulling weeds in a garden. They're just fucking chop, 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 chop. Don't give fucks.
That's what they
Yeah.
should have been doing, and Shane was the only one who was on point. The real problem with Shane is he needed someone to do better PR for him. I was telling Kyle and Chiz earlier today, or maybe yesterday, that if I had been there to just help him out, like to stand next to him, and he's like, "We need to get rid of all these zombies. I'm gonna murder them all." I'd be like, what he means to say, everyone, is that there's a supreme threat right on our borders here, and it's absolutely remiss to allow any more time to pass before it's addressed. And they'd be like, "Oh my God, that's compelling." Okay, yeah, I understand what that means. And then you'd be like, "All right, everybody follow Shane's lead. Shane, if you would do your best to be quiet throughout all of it, do what you will, but keep, I mean, this is a tenuous relationship we're doing here." And then they acted like he was crazy when they found out that old fuck had a barn full of zombies that he was keeping on a lark. And they're all like, "Oh, this is so disrespectful of you, Shane, to open that and to force him to watch his wife and this girl die." And it's like, no, he just saved all of your lives.
Yeah.
Like, I'm blown away. Yeah, he's bad at
I hate that part of the show. But that happens, right? That part in like the first act where like everybody's a little confused as to the gravity of the situation, and we all need to get up to speed to like hardcore mode, to like killing mode, or whatever's required to win. In The Walking Dead, it is a process for characters to get into that mode, and one of the key components to the show is that by seasons 4, 5, 6, and 7, there are fewer and fewer of the kinds of people who exhibit those annoying kind of qualities, who are like, "Oh no, that's still Aunt Billy." By the time you get to season 5, if you see Aunt Billy as a zombie, you fuck, or Uncle Bill, maybe it is Aunt Billy, these days. You see Aunt Billy, you fucking, you take him out.
Her. She prefers to be called her. I think. I don't know. I'm really confused.
Oh, he's a zombie
really
now. No sense.
Like Blonde Girl. Blonde Girl causes a lot of problems. Like when she just almost killed Crossbow Guy. I was not happy about that one bit because I was
Andrea.
If
Andrea's.
Yes. If Crossbow Guy had Daryl hadn't stood back up, I wouldn't be this far on the show. I would have been like, "Fuck it, no."
Yeah, if she'd wasted Daryl right then and there, I'd have probably checked out too. She is shit. She is the worst character. She's terrible. Michonne is gonna exhibit most of her like comic book qualities for the show and be the cool chick.
Andrea, whatever, is awesome. She is by far the best chick in the comics. In the show, I think she was just miscast. This woman is unlikable. If she was here in real life, I wouldn't let her come to my cookout. She just, like, something about her rubs me the wrong way. I every second that I see her on screen, I don't enjoy her company. And that's
I agree.
Who she is.
I don't like it either. She is a little bit above her and old guy who owns the farm and had the barn full of zombies. Her and Herschel are up there for two people I've wanted dead since I saw them first.
Herschel's going to get up to speed. Just give him a little time. He needs to see what's up.
Yeah, I can tell he's coming around to the good side as he's like, I thought the Lord had different plans when he said he was going to resurrect the dead. And it's like, dude, this isn't week 1 of this shit. You should have all the tears out. It should, another thing I don't like about this show. If I were a zombie killer like this, like, and it's fucking year 2, and I see someone kill a zombie and then go into its head, I'm gonna go, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch," and you should know better by now. That is day 1 zombie behavior right there. You look like a weak pussy when you're just going at it like that, like, and you're getting blood all over the place. No one's wearing a mask. Like, I'd be so much more careful.
So Taylor, what if you do this behavior on day
apocalypse?
Yeah, Taylor, what if you do this behavior on day 1, right? And it turns out this isn't a zombie apocalypse, and this person is just on Xanax or something, right? Or what's the one that helps you sleep?
Xanax, I think.
If you wake up in the middle of the night, then you're like drugged.
Oh, Ambien.
Ambien, right? What if Taylor's like, clearly this is a zombie apocalypse. These people are acting really fucked up, and he murders them because he's quick to get on the murder train, and it turns out like there's just a couple people on Ambien, and he jumped the gun.
No. I'm never going to be the one storming that beach. And if I did kill someone I thought was a zombie on Ambien, and the police came and there was someone on Ambien in my living room with blood all over the place and an axe in their head, it would look so much worse if instead of an axe embedded in their head, there was just a pulpy mess where a head used to be. And it was like, so you didn't hit him once or even a dozen times by my reckoning. It looks like, there's a hole in your floor. Like, like you've gone right through the floorboards here with that thing. Like that would look definitely worse. But yeah, I just don't like the jumping on top of the zombies after it's already dead. Like it seems reckless. I wouldn't do it. I don't know why it bothers me so much. It bothers me. You know why it bothers me? It's because it's one of those things that you can tell in a show that only exists in a show. That would literally never happen in real life. No one would hit a zombie with a spiked bat and then straddle it and go like that.
Nope.
Like some idiot. Like no, you hit it once and then you take a few. You know all that zombie apocalypse needed is fucking half an hour of cardio a day for the whole group. Get everybody a nice pickaxe, and what you do is you have a line, like you're doing sports, and you run forward, everybody hits one. Hit one, and you fucking book it back. You sprint back. The next line runs up, everybody hits one. You don't stick around. You don't futz around. You don't go, I'm going for 3 in a row. No, you run back. And then the next people run it.
It's funny you should mention that by like in the comics, by what will be like season 8 or 9, they have that down. They're like standing in a formation, and they're like they count to 5, and each count is a step that you take forward into the group, and it's like 1 swing, 2 swing, 3 swing, 4 swing, 5, and then they run back, and then they repeat over and over.
What are they doing as that's happening? They're like, this is great. Someone should have invented this thousands of years ago.
If you give it a little time, it's weird to me that no one ever seems to be trying to kill all the zombies. For some reason, like, picking up the trash is not a mission on this show in the slightest. Instead, they have, like, walls, like, big chain link fences. At one point, I'm going to spoil it for you. At one point, they spend time near a prison, so there's, like, a 24-foot chain link fence. And, they should just be routinely, like, taking out the trash. Low-risk zombie murders. But they don't do it.
Yeah, that's another silly thing. Like, and the argument would probably be like, well, there's just so many. It's like, yeah, but as you're getting into year 3, a lot of those things you would think have just kind of exploded out in the sun like a rotten.
You're not going to get that, though. The thing with the show is that to keep this thing going, like, those zombies should have rotted apart a long time ago, right? Like, because we know I don't know if you've ever seen a fucking corpse decompose or like a dead animal or something, but they fucking dissolve pretty quick. There'd be maggots in those things, birds landing on their shoulders pecking them. They'd be gone. The coyotes would get them. Like, it'd just be game over for the zombies eventually by year 3, right? But you were talking about like straddling a zombie. They're always bashing these things with like full grown man force to the skull. When all it would take is a little womp, right? And blood and viscera is just splattering everywhere, and no one has ever gotten sick from some zombie goo getting in their eyeball. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, I would have goggles on, a full face shield, like the whole 9, but they don't care. They're constantly, and they'll be in like zombie killing mode, and some dummy in their group will go into frenzy mode and like run deep into the.
They'll be back,
and they're almost cutting each other with them and stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
The preponderance of bashing weapons and cleaving weapons as opposed to piercing weapons seems like a major oversight.
Yeah, you need a lance. You need a lance and a shield like the fucking Spartans had, right? Like, imagine if you had like a 4-foot-tall shield that would go to the ground, and that shield was like bronze, like the Greeks had, and it weighed 45 pounds, and then you had an 8-foot-long lance. And you and 12 other guys could fucking get in a phalanx and fucking just
give me
run
some
that spear.
Carhartts, some nice boots, and like 7 coats. And then like a goalie helmet for hockey. And then give me a spear and just give me literally all day. And
a frozen
think of
pond.
how much
That's what you need. You need a frozen pond and just your hockey gear and a special stick that's a blade, and you're just fucking skating around and out there, tripping them, fucking slashing them. That'd be great.
That's actually a really good approach. If you lived like an Inuit where you had like an ice hole for fishing and you had your tent and then skates, and then anytime zombies come out, they can't get to you. And if they do, you just skate over, quick puncture move to the head. You're not swinging your hockey stick like an asshole. You're just sharpening the end and you're going, popping them right in the eye. That's it.
Yeah.
We would survive so much longer. I guarantee it, guys.
The other people
That's
are the
why
challenge.
it's nice when the early seasons are over and the problem is no longer zombies, it's people. Because we can all relate to how dangerous people can be. Like, we know it's true. And now it's more like a warlord situation. It's sort of, it feels a lot like, I don't know.
Mad Max almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like Mad Max.
Yeah, like to what Woody was saying, like the actual people are the really scary part now, and I like that evolution that it's kind of taking. I'm sure it'll do it more and more and more as more zombies die and more people form clans or whatever. Yeah, but in Rick's defense, because I did say I didn't like him that much at first, like when I started liking Rick is when he went to that bar for Herschel, when Herschel was being a negative Nancy, and those two people from Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or somewhere, Boston, I don't know, show up, and they're being all smarmy, and I wanted them dead right away, and I was so happy when he did like the and just blew them both, like blew that one guy's head off.
Turns around, kills the guy behind him, and fucking, yeah, it was real slick.
Sick. I liked that because then I was like, okay, when this guy gets his head on straight, he's going to be an asset. Like,
yes. Every now and then, Rick goes into like Hulk mode, you know, like
Hulkamania. Can't touch him.
Yes. Rick goes into Hulkamania, a condition in which he is invulnerable. He goes into Hulkamania every time, Rickmania or something like that, and those are fun moments. You're just kind of waiting for that to happen, for shit to get so bad that Rick just gets all teary-eyed and shaky, and then he's like, time to kill, and just starts killing people and doing awful things to people. It's great. And when he's getting like hyped up for some shit they've got to do, that's good. There's a point where they're all being held prisoner, and he's like, they're going to be real upset when they find out. And they're like, find out, or what's he say? Oh, when they find out the mistake they're made. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, and he turns around to the camera, he's like, they're fucking with the wrong people. And then like that's the end of the episode. He's a good leader. It's fun to see Rick get everybody pumped up and lead by example by, you know, like biting a jugular out or headbutting somebody and killing them with a hatchet or something awful like that.
I'm looking forward to Neeson or Nealon, whatever the hell his name is.
Negan.
Who? Negan.
Negan.
I mean, I don't know enough about the show to even get the name wrong. I got the letter right. So whenever Negan comes in, is there another... It won't give it away because every show has this, but are there some good bad guys before then, or is the trip of bad guys kind of lackluster until you get to him?
No, there's other boss characters who are pretty good too.
Yeah.
That's good. Because the way you guys described him, I like it. He seemed like an interesting adversary.
Yeah. He's got personality. That's and delivery and charisma, you know, and you could tell that like he kind of exudes them as he walks. They're just kind of oozing out of him. He gets through their gate, and you just see the shadow of him through silhouette because the gate also has tarp on it. And he's got the bat on his shoulder. He's like, little piggy, let me in. It's great. He's got style. He
has lines that I think are hard to deliver. Like coming from a lot of people, they might be stupid, but he does it well. It's cool.
Yeah. It's when he's on screen, you don't. He is my favorite character now. I like him more than anyone. When he's on the screen, the fucking show is on. It's like, oh, Negan's on. Sometimes it's these like moments where you feel sick to your stomach and your heart's beating. Sometimes you're laughing and like, this is the funniest guy in the fucking show. This guy has better jokes than anybody. He's the only one who has maintained his fucking sense of humor in the zombie apocalypse.
So
this guy's cracking jokes.
A Ramsey kind of guy. When every time he's on screen, you're like, oh, I gotta track this.
Ramsey is just evil, right? Negan is not evil. He would not hurt. He's not a sociopath. He won't cause pain because he enjoys it. He causes pain because he feels it's necessary for this iron fist rule that's going to get mankind onto the future. He's not evil, though.
Ramsey is just a psychopath.
Yeah, he's a warlord.
Really, like, inflicting pain and controlling people, and he's a sadistic.
Ramsey likes power a lot too, but it seems like Ramsey uses his seeking for power almost to like make the tail wag the dog, so that he can go back and be like, "Oh, and to get there, I need to torture 60 people."
Right.
Like, Lord Bolton doesn't make a lot of sense. We got a big battle to fight. We could use these guys. No. I need to do this. My dick cabinet's getting empty.
Yeah,
So-
there are better bad guys, and there are some bad guys where it's not that their leader is intimidating. It's just that what they do is intimidating. Like their whole way of life is scary, or it's a good show. It has low moments for sure, where I feel like it could benefit from some super fan going back and editing 7 seasons. If you took 7 seasons and cut 10 hours of lame shit out, I bet it would feel really slick and smooth and exciting. But it is
I
what
honestly
it is.
feel like I could have skipped this season with the farm and
Yes.
jumped right into season 3, and I wouldn't have
Yes.
missed much, because now because they started the season not at the farm, and now they're ending the season not at the farm, and nothing's happened other than a couple characters I don't care about died.
Exactly. That's why I tell people, look, go watch the first
Should I
season.
skip
It has
3?
4 episodes.
No.
You watch the first season, and then you get on YouTube and you just search like Walking Dead season 2 recap, and in like 5 minutes you get all of season 2 absorbed and none of the horse shit.
But he's 13 episodes into season 2 now. He might as well finish it out. And
Yeah,
plus
I
the
may as
last,
well.
Yeah, sure.
the
Yeah,
end of season 2 is actually pretty good. What you've been waiting for all season goes down. And then
that's right.
come season 3, they took the feedback from 2 and they're like, oh, you need action? Well, shit. Let's whip up the turbocharger and get this shit cooking, because season 3
Yeah.
cooks. So that's cool. Taylor,
Yeah.
are you
Oh,
familiar with the Muhammad Ali George Foreman fight? Oh, gosh.
Lost you there.
Yeah, are you familiar with the Muhammad Ali George Foreman fight? Back in the day?
I'm not familiar with it. No.
Let me
I
lay
know
it
they
out
fought,
for you.
But I don't know what happened.
A little bit. So the way that this goes down is George Foreman is a big bad man. He hits super hard, and it's super hard to take. He can take a punch, unlike most heavyweights, and he's a monster. And everyone's wondering if Foreman is going to be the man that just takes a hot Muhammad Ali down a peg. Foreman beats the fuck out of Muhammad Ali for like 6 or 7 rounds. He's way ahead on every judge's card, and he's just slaughtering him. And Muhammad Ali, on the other hand, is just getting beat up, taking defense, ducking, jiving, etc. And then in the 8th round, George Foreman got tired. And Muhammad Ali is like, aha, this is a bad place to get tired. And Muhammad Ali knocks out George Foreman in the 8th round. This is exactly how I see the Columbus versus Pittsburgh series playing out, right? That Pittsburgh is just winning game after game, exhausting themselves, quite frankly. And I think that Columbus is about to turn this around, and they'll show Sidney Crosby that he truly doesn't have what it takes to be successful at the NHL level.
Oh,
Yeah, I just
watch that hit.
I linked something from the Pens Blue Jackets series. They have not been getting along well. The NHL playoffs get pretty intense. But, yeah, he cross-checks the guy in the Penguins so hard his stick breaks, and then that's not enough for Mr. Class Act Matt Calvert. He has to shoulder him in the side of the head right after that. But
He's trying to recover from that. It's like,
I want Columbus to win this series so much.
Guaranteed.
But
Guaranteed or your money
really
back.
I hope they win it. I don't think they can, because 3 games to none is a big thing to do against the reigning champs.
It takes 4.
But it does. It takes 4. And the Blues play, they play tomorrow night and could sweep the Minnesota Wild. I don't think it will. The only one of these series that I think will be a sweep is the Ducks over the Flames. Because there are 4 series right now that could be a sweep. Nobody thought any would be sweeps. The Blues are up 3-0 over Minnesota. The Ducks are up 3-0 over Calgary. The Nashville Predators are up 3-0 over Chicago. Woo-hoo. And some other fucking one. I don't remember the other one. But 3 of them there. I think the Blues can win in 5 or 6. And I think the Predators are going to win in 5 or 6. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy seeing Chicago struggling so fucking hard right now. It's great. They didn't score a goal until the 3rd game, which is nice because they're not doing well. Kyle has been watching, and getting pretty frustrated with it,
yeah,
obviously.
I feel like their defense is lazy.
They've just not been that good. And ranked as the worst goalie of the NHL playoffs going into it, has saved 114 out of 117 shots so far in 3 games. 97% save percentage. That's very good. That's an A+. That by grading standards. But yeah, I still don't feel confident enough in the Blues to say I'm for sure they'll win because we've been reverse swept before and that sucks dick. But
that's my favorite part. I've never really known a Blues fan until you. So you're my Blues fan representative. It is interesting to see a guy up 3-0 and say, yeah, we're probably going to lose. I don't know.
No,
We've been reverse swept before. That doesn't look good. It was very risky, very risky. This could go any way, right? Your team, since you traded that guy, had like the best offense. You're like number 1 in a bunch of categories since February. Like you're the number 1 or 2 statistically in a lot of really important things.
I lost you there for a sec.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was reading it this morning, and I wish I could recall all the categories, but there were like 11 of them, and they were important things, like whatever, plus minus for the team or things like that, where you were number 1 or 2 in the league since like February. Like it's not some tiny little sample size. And I'm like, holy smokes, like down the backstretch, the Blues have been the best team in hockey, arguably.
Yeah,
and
they were real good the last part of the season after we traded Shattenkirk.
Yeah, so now you enter the playoffs, and you're 1 game from sweeping a strong Minnesota team.
Yeah.
And I listen to you, and you're like, yeah, we're probably going to lose. Not the series. I know you didn't say that.
I don't think we're probably going to lose, but I never count my chickens until they're hatched because I was convinced in 2013 against the Kings when we won 2 in a row. I'm like, all right, statistically they're probably not going to win this, and then they won 4 in a row, and we got knocked out. The next year we won the first 2 against Chicago. In 2014 they won 4 in a row and knocked us out. And so to me, this is still risky business a little bit. Like I really hope that we can pull it off in Game 4, so we're not as tired going into the next round. But man, I'm pretty afraid of Nashville right now because they look fucking good.
So does St. Louis. Well,
St. Louis looks very good too.
Yeah, St. Louis, like I just talked about how dominant they've been for the second half of the year. You're winning close game after close game, and I'm trying to think who just did that I was pulling for. UNC. UNC in college basketball. If you didn't follow that much, they would have these like ugly come from behind wins. They're blowing big leads. They're like, even against teams they were supposed to be smashing, like a 1 versus, I'll make it up, like 11 seed. It's like this doesn't look like a 1 versus 11 seed. They won by 3 points or something. And they just kept winning ugly. They kept winning close.
I mean, the Blues are winning close ones.
Yeah, because
part of the reason I think we're having some. Sorry, I lost you again.
I'll just go run for a second. The Blues are winning close ones, but they're getting outshot by crazy. Like I'm gonna make it up. It's something like 114-72. Like that might actually be it. Like that's how much you're getting outshot by over the 3 games. And I don't know. You know what you call a team who keeps winning close games? Champions.
Yeah, that's true. Like we're looking good in that regard. Something that is encouraging is we've done all of this without our best center. And so part of the reason that Minnesota's getting so many more shots than us is because they know that they have better centers. And so if they're coming up the side, they're getting a lot of low risk shots because they don't need to worry. They just, you get on the side of the net, throw it at Jake Allen, he'll cover the rebound, and then you get a face off, and what do you know? You're probably going to win it because they've won like 75% of the face-offs this series, which if you don't know anything about hockey is fucking bananas. Like that is an overwhelming amount for them to have won because the only guy on our team who can win face-offs, Paul Stastny, is out with some leg thing, but he's day-to-day now. And so if he does come back before the end of this series, I'm incredibly confident because and that's part of the reason the Blues haven't been taking a lot of shots and setting up more, because if the Blues take a low-risk shot and their goalie covers it up, then we have to take a face-off, and more than likely we're going to lose possession, and they'll get to break it out. And so they're really trying to set up those perfect shots. And another thing that's encouraging is we're winning these games, and Tarasenko still only has assists. He hasn't even scored yet. Our best player hasn't even put one up.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's only a matter of time with that dude because he has the highest percentage of goals per playoff game of any player in the NHL right now.
If I'm your coach, I don't think I put him in kind of wounded. I think I might win game 4 and let him, and then give that injury, whatever it is, a whole week to rest.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, what I would do is, like, no need to rush it for tomorrow. But if we lose tomorrow and he's okay for game 5, then I say bring him back. But
I could see that.
I don't know. Minnesota. I go to the Minnesota Wild. Every time hockey playoffs are around, I always go to all the different team subreddits. And, man, the Minnesota Wild subreddit is on suicide watch right now because apparently 0% of them thought that the Blues might sweep them in this series. Because they're, and I love the rationale that you see of, like, sour grapes and stuff where it's like, we're clearly the better team, but we're just playing bad. I read that quite a bit on the Chicago Blackhawks subreddit, and I was like, wait, you're that confident that you're the better team than the Nashville Predators? You didn't score a goal for 2 whole games against them, and then you took a 2-goal lead and they came back and whooped your ass in overtime. Like, to me, it's looking like these are pretty close teams.
It's like the only category the Minnesota Wild are doing worse in is goals.
Yeah.
I'll admit that's a big one.
Oh, and blocked shots and takeaways and giveaways.
Oh, that's a thing. If you count shots that went wide or got blocked, the shot differential gets even worse. Apparently, your defense is standing on their heads too.
Yeah, Yao's our coach, or not Yao, Yo. I want to say Yao, but he's not Asian, so it's Yo. And Coach Yo, his system has defensemen basically being like mini goalies, like blocking shots like crazy, and really just because our old coach used to have a system where it was, more traditional North and South style, dump it in kind of hockey, and he does way more of like they're going to get way more shots on you, but we're going to make sure those shots are coming from the outside. We're not going to, let any high-risk stuff through for the most part. And they've been doing great with that so far. So I've got high hopes, but I also am anticipating the worst.
I think that anyone who knows hockey understands that St. Louis and Columbus are in a pretty good spot right now.
So, yes, St. Louis 3-0 and Columbus 0-3. Like they're 2 sides of that same coin. But, yeah, I'm pretty confident Pittsburgh's going to win. I hope they don't.
Did you see the basketball player Isaiah Thomas? His sister was killed in a car accident. And they're in the playoffs right now playing. And he's on the bench crying before the game.
Wait,
and of course.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. There's another famous person who killed their daughter, and I got him mixed up.
And what's his name? Is it Charles Barkley? Yeah, Barkley, who's always kind of like, you can tell he's really homophobic. And I don't use that word lightly. He's literally afraid of gay people. He's afraid of them. They frighten him. He was like, just watching him right there crying on the sidelines, that made me uncomfortable. It just made me uncomfortable that he's doing that, and I don't like to see that, and I'm just uncomfortable. He should not be there crying. I don't like to see that grown man there on the sidelines crying like that.
Well, it's not about you, Charles.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, he's like, clearly he is not ready to play. And then I think he went out and dropped like 34 points. They fucking lost, but
that's a good game. Yeah, yeah, that sucks.
I like Charles Barkley because he just doesn't give a fuck, and he's super non-politically correct. There's a couple of black guys that are that way. The guy who gave the Miss America results incorrectly, he's like that as well.
Harvey.
You always hear him going off at the mouth with some super conservative anti-gay stuff, or some stuff about how a man ought to be that's sexist or something like that.
Yeah, I don't agree with his positions, so I don't like him.
Yeah, of course not. No, don't agree with him, but it's fun to watch.
I don't like him because I don't care for basketball.
That's a problem, man.
Yeah. No, I'm sure basketball is. I bet I would watch it some if it wasn't on at the same time as hockey. Maybe. I don't know. maybe not. Yeah, because there's anytime where there's that much scoring in a sport, it makes me not excited when you do score and makes me disappointed when you don't score. You know,
I know a lot about basketball, and I'm pretty sure the Sixers would win this year had they made the playoffs.
The Sixers, they were the worst team in the league last year, weren't they?
Yeah. Are you familiar with the process and that whole thing?
The process of playoffs?
Yeah, they're losing on purpose so that they can
they're
get
tanking.
Not this year, but yeah, they were not just tanking. They tanked for like 3 years. They trade away good players for picks and just but a lot of teams, maybe halfway or 2/3 of the season realize they'd be better off tanking. The Sixers will enter the season thinking we're going to lose as many as possible and increase our odds for a lottery pick. They did that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And now they are loaded with some young, encouraging talent and some pretty great draft possibilities in the upcoming years. So
that's the smart thing. You have to do it. Like, you kind of have to tank if you want to be a team. Like, you have to realize, like, all right, our window's closed, sell all our assets. We're going to be bad for a while. Like, the Avalanche did that this year, and they didn't even try to tank. They tried to make the playoffs, and they lost 55 games this year. They lost more games than they got points. They had the worst season since the Atlanta Thrashers in 2001 or something, and it wasn't in 2 years ago.
They didn't have any ice.
2 years ago, there was an actual thing where people were a little bit mad at Buffalo because if Buffalo was literally someone on their team would start doing well and it'd be like, oh, 4 goals for fucking Rantanen or whatever in the last 4 games, and they're like, what's he doing? Get him out of here. Trade him. Who wants to trade for this guy? Who wants to trade for him? Anybody. This guy scores a lot of goals. We don't want him. And they ship everybody off. They had a better season, significantly, than the Avalanche this year, who were like, oh, Jesus, guys. Just go out there and we got to do something, it's getting embarrassing out there. The guys, nobody, we got to try or something. They did their best, and they still
There's some
suck,
pretty good beer leagues around here,
Yeah.
Let's get creative.
I think I've already talked about it a couple times, but Woody, have you seen that Little Dicky rap video called Pillow Talk?
I have. Hey, did my camera just freeze for you?
It did.
I know how to fix it. I did. I liked it fine.
You think it was that great?
I didn't watch it with the same sort of wow, this is cool that you did. I was like, the pacing on this could be better. It's not really musical. That was my takeaway.
I fucking dug it. I loved it. That CGI is crazy. I like when the brain comes out. That's hilarious. All that stuff. I thought that was a cool video, and I really like it. After I like watching the Save That Money video and then watching the Pillow Talk video, because Save That Money, he's literally begging, borrowing, stealing, whatever he can do to make this thing cheap and costs nothing to do. And then this video costs $700,000 to make or something like that. It's got all the special effects and John C. Reilly. And
how did he get $700,000 for a music video?
I think he's very rich.
Little Dicky?
Yeah, he's a successful guy now.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But that's really successful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure it's not him writing the check. I'm sure it's whatever label he's with doing it, but that's still really impressive for a guy who started on YouTube, right?
Justin Bieber started on YouTube.
That's true. Justin Bieber started on YouTube. He was the first guy to go bananas off YouTube, wasn't he?
Yeah.
YouTube is so. Do you know Gary Vaynerchuk?
Nope.
No.
He could possibly be Jerry Vaynerchuk, but I think it's Gary. And he's this social media expert. What he does is he basically consults people about how to buy Facebook ads, how to do SEO, which things are paying, giving good rewards, etc. Anyway, I've been listening to his audiobook, and he was saying stuff about YouTube that was blowing my mind, the importance of influencers. He's so bullish on Snapchat. I'm not really in the Snapchat world. I'm just so outside that demo. Dad's aren't on Snapchat yet. And he's like, there are Snapchat stars. You're listening to this book, you're 40 years old, and you don't know who, Johnny Quest is. I made that up. That's a real person. Johnny Lewis. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know who that is. He's like, but if you're a 14-year-old, that is a household name. Everybody knows this person on Snapchat. And then he's like, you can't find someone. It looks like you guys might have froze.
Like that was kind of one of the main premises is that everybody was an influence. Did I freeze too?
Yeah, we get
am I working?
disconnected for a second. But like he's saying on is
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, Johnny.
Fucking Haji over there.
Yeah,
but he's saying on YouTube, he's like, you can't find a person who's like 12 or under who actually watches TV. He's like, maybe Netflix, but television is just dead for those guys. And in 6
Yes.
years, it'll be 18 and under. And it's like, wow, like it won't be long before television is super dead. Like,
oh, it's going to be way faster than you think because, like, really, even me, I don't like traditional television, and I'm, 25, 26, and it's because that whole thing of watch this at this time, tune in at 9, check it out. Otherwise, good luck. You have to wait till the next hour to replay it. Like, people are done watching entertainment on other people's schedules. They're done with it. People are like, no, I'm going to watch this show when I want and how I want. I don't want
The commercials
are
are
terrible.
awful, and shows that are taped around are terrible. And when the time when I get exposed to regular programming, I'm in a hotel, and at first I'll be like, ooh, regular TV. Let's turn on the Discovery Channel or whatever I'm doing, and it's just like, this is bullshit. Like okay, in 2 hours there will be 45 minutes. It's usually like, okay, I'll wait 2 hours and there'll be 42 minutes of something I'm interested in, interspliced with 18 minutes of commercials, and then nothing else. Like that's my night now. Whereas with Netflix, it's like, all right, or with what I have, it's like, all right, I'm gonna watch YouTube for 45 minutes, and that will guide me to the movie that I want to watch. I'm just gonna watch movie reviews for 45 minutes, which will be entertaining as fuck. And then I'll watch a cool movie that I know about.
And then you'll start a movie or TV show at 10:06 p.m. You didn't have to rush home or do anything. Like, it's really, I think, even more than commercials, it's the scheduling aspect of people are done with being like, oh, I'm waiting until 7 to watch my show, my programs, my stories. Like, no, nobody my age or younger, or even Kyle, you don't do it either. Like, most people just don't anymore.
Yeah.
No, the only show I think that any of us have a schedule around is Game of Thrones.
That's it.
Yeah. I've been in this hotel room for 4 days. I haven't turned on the TV yet. I'm about ready to steal that plug. I think the plug it's plugged into is more interesting to me than the television.
Yeah, because if you're like, I'm kind of bored, I think I can take my chances on the TV. Well, I'll just plug in my computer for the sure thing.
Yeah.
Use my laptop and watch what show I know I want to watch.
Yeah, I forget. I saw the YouTube sidebar. Like you watch a video and the one next to you. I'm like, oh my god. Like 3 of my favorite people have uploaded a total of 4 videos. If it wasn't for this, I'd have been watching videos. I'm queued up for hours. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I take my Amazon Fire with me everywhere I travel to. Like when we went to Colorado, I was like, whoop, now we got my shit. Like we've got all of my shit now. Like I don't care what. Whenever I'm looking at like an Airbnb or a rental property or whatever to stay at, I don't care if you got satellite TV or not. Like it's just completely irrelevant. I don't want to watch that shit.
Yeah, so I wonder, I don't know, advertisers are going to start headed to these social media places. Right now, they're very cheap, right? Television doesn't pay off that well because the ads are expensive and you don't hit the right target demo. They don't have it all nailed. Heck, Taylor knows more about this than me. I've just been audiobooking it. But, you can land on an influencer who has exactly the audience that you're looking for, and apparently that's where everything will go.
Yep. Yeah, online is TV can't stop the internet. You're losing this battle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Donald Trump hasn't had his say yet.
Oh.
We'll see. After tomorrow's episode of Fox and Friends, we'll see what he thinks.
Didn't he just say he had something big to talk? Oh, they were going to talk about North Korea tonight. Did you guys catch it? It was supposed to be today, like 3 hours ago.
No, I haven't.
Heard maybe it probably hasn't happened yet. I haven't heard anything about it.
I heard.
Yeah,
Pence,
I didn't follow any news today. I was out.
I heard Pence talking, and I actually didn't mind what he said. Okay, I should be more unbiased. I liked what he said. He was like, he said it like this. He's like, don't push Donald Trump. He's like, the era of patience has come and gone, and I'm going to paraphrase now, but he's like, if you fuck with Trump, shit will go down. This isn't Obama anymore where you can run your mouth and launch your missiles and expect us to look the other way.
Yeah. They're talking about going out into the Sea of Japan and using his missiles for target practice.
Yeah.
Really?
Spray painting additional red lines. Like, no, this one. Actually, no, that was a fake one. No, this one. Like, no, he's for real.
It'll be interesting to see where this goes. It could go real bad.
Yeah, of course, what Pence said could also be just a negotiating tactic, too, where they don't really
Sure.
want to do anything. They just puff up their chest. You don't know.
Trump
But
does not like to appear weak. You can say, Mr. President, what do you want to do? They stepped their toe over your line. Kill them all. Kill them all. Big craters.
I don't want to get
Huge.
it.
Something's got to give.
Huge craters.
I
Something's got to
prefer
give with North Korea.
I
With
prefer
that many
Trump the
millions
candidate.
And millions of people.
Trump the candidate was like, why are we going into Syria? Why are we going here? Why are we the world policeman? We spend all this money, etc. Trump the president, well, he hasn't done anything big yet, but he appears to be interested in, I don't know, fixing everything around the world.
Well, he's
Yeah.
definitely focused on North Korea and Syria. He didn't like that chemical thing, and he appears to not like all that stuff that's going on with North Korea. They were talking about how many artillery pieces, because that's the real threat that North Korea has pointed at Seoul.
Mhm.
It's an outrageous amount. It's tens
Like
of
20,000.
Yeah, it's like 35,000 artillery pieces, manned by a couple of guys pointed at it. And they said there's like a 6-minute window between the time that we would do like a preemptive strike and the time that they could all start shooting at Seoul,
Yeah.
South Korea. And that when they run war games, most of the time they can't hit fucking 30,000 artillery pieces in 6 minutes.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
That seems
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean,
bad tactic.
So much.
Like, remember when we went for Hiroshima and we did it because Tokyo was already busted up,
Yeah.
right? Are they all 20,000 at one city? Like, there's other cities, I'm sure. I
Oh
don't-
no! But see, it's very close. It's like 30 miles away from the border or something, like within artillery fire range, because it's just a big gun shooting a shell, and it's their capital.
Yeah. And their artillery isn't really long range capable. They
don't
kind of
know
have to pick a
about
close
that.
target, is my understanding.
Maybe you're
I
right.
don't
But it
think
seems like every time they have a test, it's like North Korea tests new rocket, and that's trending on Twitter for like 3 minutes, and it's like hilarious failure, the Korean idiot.
I was
2
reading
minutes
a bit that perhaps we tampered with that missile electronically and made it fail. The most recent one.
Well, I hope we continue to tamper with all their nonsense missiles and make them fail. Like the fact that even China is kind of like you're getting a little out of control here is, I don't know, should be a wake up call. It's going to be cool to see what eventually happens when that collapses and like when those tens of millions of people get to go free and like experience the world. There's going to be some real cool documentaries.
If they do.
If they do.
There's a cool YouTube video of like a North Korean eating like some
seen it.
big barbecue meal. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh, so much food. Yeah, of course. Like I like seeing that. I like seeing culture shock. It's always been really entertaining when people come to like Georgia from whether it's some country like, I don't know, some European country where there's no guns, or where there's some fucking California where there's almost no guns, and to see their like Walmarts have rifles and shotguns and stuff. They see the ammunition just on the shelf like it's bread. That blows their mind.
They're always blown away by that. They sell guns at stores. As a matter of fact, they do. That's where we get all of
Indeed.
our stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're blown away by drive-through ammo and liquor stores.
Yes.
I think that's just freedom incarnate. Like,
Yeah, I like the drive-through liquor store. They got a thing in Kentucky called Liquor Barn, and it looks like an old red barn, but the barn doors are just swung wide open in the center, and you drive right through the center of this thing with like drink coolers lining either side, and you can fucking, like, you don't have to get out of your car if you don't want to. You can just be like, give me a 6-pack of Bud, if it's something simple like that. Don't rig your ass up and you just keep on rolling. And even in my little town, there's a liquor store that has a drive-through window. You just go to the window and fucking give me whatever, liquor, beer, and do it all
anytime
at the
I
window.
go to one of those states, like Idaho or Colorado or Utah, where like you go into a grocery store and you want to go down the beer aisle and there's no beer, or like you go to a gas station and there's no beer and liquor section, I always just am like, fascists! Like
Yeah.
these people, like you can't do that. You can't be like, hey, all the liquor we sell here is government run. It's all government run at government prices. You want to open a liquor store? Fuck off. Like, I don't like that at all.
Yeah, it's like Vermont or New Hampshire or somewhere like that, where it's all like state-run liquor stores. I think
There's a lot
maybe.
of places like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was bizarre to me that like the state has a monopoly. It seemed, or on the liquor business there. That seemed a little fucked.
It seems
And in
unfair.
Georgia, we've got a lot of dry counties, and we've got a lot of like, there's like no beer sales on Sunday. Most gas stations only have beer and wine. Liquor's at the liquor store. So yeah, I'm always fascinated when I go somewhere and it's like Captain Morgan's and Absolute Vodka at the gas station. Yeah, you want to wrap?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's it. Painkiller Nearly, episode 140. I got that.